Mr. Speaker, for three obvious reasons. Mr. Speaker, the election and identification of leadership of committees that are devolved down to wards goes hand in hand with the spirit of devolution, so that climate management is not only undertaken at national level or regional level, but it goes to the people who interact with it. Mr. Speaker, I wish to point out that in Siaya County, we have reached a level where the interaction between the environment and human beings is both a benefit and a confrontation with human life. Mr. Speaker, I have seen in the report by the ministry refers to River Siaya and Lake Victoria as causes of flooding and displacement of human beings in Ugenya and Siaya for River Siaya and Lake Usonga for River Siaya and South Leoma and West Leoma and North Leoma also for Lake Victoria. The Speaker, in the year 2020, April, there was interaction between the environment and ourselves in Siaya County. And Mr. Speaker, no less a person than the Deputy Speaker of this House nearly drowned in the Siaya. Mr. Speaker, you were a participant in saving the lives of people in Usonga by way of donations and provision of material to evacuate people. And Mr. Speaker, every time climate change interacts with people, I don't know what happens up there because we don't stay there, but every ward has got a unique way it interacts with the environmental disaster. And Mr. Speaker, while it is flooding in West Ugenya, while it is flooding in East Ugenya, downstream in River Siaya, there is complete destruction of assets of land, with the water taking soil from one side of the river and depositing it across the river, with one person expanding his land area and another person constricting in the land areas. That requires that those who manage, those who help identify mitigating actions, the people and persons who have been identified at the local level, so that they tell those who are responsible the unique challenges they have. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying that it is a very happy moment that somebody has seen it work to implement the act that was enacted by the law that was enacted by the Assembly in the year 2021, so that funds are taken down to the wards, so that the ward climate change committees can be able to be facilitated to invest towards conservation of the environment to mitigate on climate change effects. And Mr. Speaker, sometimes we take a lot of time in this house and elsewhere arguing about contracts for youth to plant trees and to do that and to build debuts. Mr. Speaker, it would be a very good day, a very happy day for our county if our ward management, climate management committees were to have the monies to procure the planting of forests down there, to procure the building of gabions down there, to protect river banks down there, and be enabled to identify where funds are best spent, best applied. Mr. Speaker, allow me to second and support.
Members, I received concern from a member from North Kenya, which I have since relayed to the Chairman of the Water Committee in relation to amendments which were made by the initiative of various ward committees chair has assured me that those changes will be reflected in the final document that will be sent to the executive, and therefore you will allow me to propose the motion as follows: pursuant to the motion, that I propose the motion which is on the approval of World Climate Change Planning Committee, the County Climate Change Action Plan, accompanied with participatory County Climate Change Report. Aware that Section 15 of the Siaya County Climate Change Act 2021 provides for the establishment and proposition of the World Climate Change Planning Committees. Aware that the list of nominees for the World Climate Change Planning Committees must be approved by the County Assembly in line with Section 15, subsection 5 of the Siaya County Climate Change Act 2021. Further aware that the County Government of Siaya is a beneficiary of the Financing Locally-Led Climate Action FLOCA program, which seeks to provide a coherent and standard approach to be used by all countries in promoting involvement of local communities in climate action. Further aware that in line with the FLOCA program, the County Assembly should approve the County Climate Change Action Plan, accompanied with the participatory climate risk assessment report to enable the county to benefit from the program. Further aware that the deadline for approval of the Climate Change Action Plan is informed with the participatory county climate risk assessment report is on Wednesday, the 31st of May. Noting that the County Assembly is currently in recess and that the County Executive has requested for prompt action on the FLOCA-based activities by the House not later than 30th May 2023. Now, therefore, this House resolves that pursuant to the provisions of Section 15(5) of the Siaya County Climate Change Act 2021, the Siaya County Assembly approves the list of nominees to the World Climate Change Planning Committees as tabled before the House, accompanied with the Climate Change Action Plan, accompanied with the participatory County Climate Change Assessment Report for the FLOCA program, as presented by the Department of Water, Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change, subject to further engagement between the Department and the County Assembly, as per the resolution of the joint meeting of the Committee on General Oversight and the same Department held on the 27th of May 2023 in the Senate. I will put the question. Yes, Honorable Cynthia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I rise to support, but I want to put a little rider as I support. That we are all aware that climate change issues and issues of water and everything else, the most affected population in our community is usually women. And one thing that I would have loved to see for this one, would have loved to see more women in this list than men. And for once, to change that the third gender group is affecting the men and not the women. That aside, that's my passionate appeal to the department as they work on this list. But that aside, I think about 70% of the lists from the words have tried to look at the two-thirds gender rule and have put at least 3 to 4 women. And that I applaud. But I still again ask that for those who have less than 4 women, please let's look at it. Because even part of the act says that the committees must comprise of at least a third of one gender. So my passionate appeal is that 2/3 to be women and a third to be men, because issues of climate change affect women. But if that is not possible, let us at least have a third of women in this list. Each ward has 11. And so I would like to see at least 4 women in each of the lists. I support.
Honorable Madam Member for Southeast Election.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support the motion and just put maybe a caution, if I may say. There tends to be an interpretation.
Company with participatory climate risk assessment report to enable the county benefit from the program. Further aware that the deadline for approval of the county climate change action plan is informed that the participatory county climate change assessment report is on Wednesday the 31st of May 2023. Noting that the county assembly is currently on recess and that the county executive has requested for prompt action and floor-based activities by the House not later than 30th of May 2023. Now, therefore, the House resolves that pursuant to the provisions of Section 15, Subsection 5 of the Siaya County Climate Change Act 2021, the County Assembly approves the list of nominees to the Ward Climate Change Planning Committee as tabled before the House. County Climate Change Action Plan accompanied with the participatory County Climate Change Assessment Report for the FLOCA program as presented by the Department of Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change, subject to further engagement between the Department and the County Assembly, as per the resolution of joint meetings between the Committee of General Oversight and the State Department, all held on 27th of May 2023 in the Senate. Will as mayors of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as mayors of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 8, motion removal in the office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor William Oduol by impeachment pursuant to Article 18(1) AC and Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012, and the Standing Order 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders.
Yes, the mover, mover for Mr. Sambo Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's to move a motion on removal from office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor William Oduol by impeachment pursuant to Article 81(1) A and C and Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 32 of the County Government Act 2012 and the Standing Order 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders. Mr. Speaker, sir, in consideration of the provision of Article 73(1)(a), Roman 3 and 4 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, hereby as the Constitution, insofar as it connotes the manner in which state officer is expected to exercise assigned authority. Mr. Speaker, whereas Article 71(1) of the Constitution obligates a state officer to behave in all sense in a manner that devoid of compromising public or official interest in favor of personal interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, aware that a state officer, having taken and subscribed to oath of office pursuant to Article 74 of the Constitution, is duty-bound to adhere to the values and principles of public service as espoused in the Article 232 of the Constitution, most importantly, practice of equitable provision of services. Mr. Speaker, hitherto the County Assembly of Siaya having been signaled by the public utterances and allegation of the Deputy Governor to the effect that there were misgivings, elements of moribund leadership, misappropriation of public funds, biasness in the budget allocation, among other deposition, the Assembly being fully appraised of the importance of provision of Article 72(2)(d) of the Constitution, which requires all state officers to be accountable to the public for their decision, action, and by implications, public utterances. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Assembly, in exercising its constitutional mandate of being bestowed with the power to summon any person to appear before it for purposes of giving evidence or providing information in line with the Article 195 of the Constitution, resolved to invite the Deputy Governor to shed light into the import of his public proclamations about the administration in which he serves. Mr. Speaker, sir, further aware of the significance of provision of Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits an officer from unknowingly giving false information to any person. Section 30 of Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits a state officer from falsifying records or misrepresenting information, and Section 27(3)(g) of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, which classifies willful furnishing of a county assembly or a committee with information which is false or misleading, or making a statement before a county assembly or a committee that is false or misleading as an offense. Mr. Speaker, sir, noting that the Deputy Governor William Oduol submitted to the County Assembly together with a By engaging in actions explained herein, Mr. William Oduol, being not a procurement professional with the qualification recognized in Kenya, acted ultra-vires to the provision of procurement laws. The second ground for removal is abuse of office and gross misconduct. Mr. Speaker, one is bulldozing officers to renovate the office of the Deputy Governor outside the approved budgetary provisions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor, banking on the authority of his office, forced incurring of expenses approximately Kenya shillings 18 million for purposes of renovating his office, interior and exterior work, purchase of furniture and office equipment, and an expenditure that was not in the budget and therefore not in the procurement plan. Mr. Speaker, sir, this was in contravention of Section 53(2) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 that states that accounting officers shall prepare an annual procurement plan which is realistic in a format set out in the regulation within the provided budget prior to commencement of each financial year as part of the annual budget preparation process. Further, Section 53(3) of the same Act states that any public officer who knowingly recommends to the accounting officer excessive procurement of items beyond a reasonable consumption of the procuring entity commits an offense under this Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, this action of the Deputy Governor of forcing unbudgeted for expenditure contravene the canons of procurement requirement. Mr. Speaker, sir, 2, misuse of public resources. A, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is on record that on November 2022, a Deputy Governor, Mr. William Oduol, while attending ISPAC meeting Sarova White Sands Hotel in Mombasa, in his personal capacity and not in his official capacity as the Deputy Governor, caused the County Department of Government and Administration to facilitate him and 3 other officers whose relevance to ISPAC meeting could not be confirmed, as they were not members of the ISPAC, and apart from the driver whose roles were undoubtedly essential. This was contrary to the provision of Section 46 of the Anti-Corruption and Ethics Economic Crimes Act 2003, which states that a person who uses his office to improperly confer a benefit on himself or anyone else is guilty of an offense. B, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Governor used his office to confer benefits to the officers to attend a function that was irrelevant to them. Roman 3 on the same ground is bullying. Mr. Speaker, sir, in his effort to coerce the County Director of Public Mr. Speaker, sir, in his effort to coerce the County Director of Supply Chain Management, Mr. Martin Okwata, to bend to his whims and change specifications in certain tenders, the Deputy Governor William Oduol threatened the Director and promised him a harsh working environment in the coming future, apparently in reference to the Director's adamancy to give him tender documents. B, Mr. Speaker, it is also on record that the Deputy Governor demanded constant briefings from the Director Supply Chain Management directly on matters procurement, despite Director not being answerable to him as per the structures of the county government service. 3, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Governor demanded constant and repeated briefings not only on matters procurement, but also on matters finance. It was on record that he was constantly and persistently demanding information on county financial transactions directly from the Acting Chief Officer for Finance and Economic Planning, Mr. Jaco Dinga, despite the fact that Mr. Jaco Dinga was not directly answerable to him or in his duties, and fact that Mr. Ding, in his duty and responsibility, This repeated behavior humiliated Mr. Odinga. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was peculiar, noted that Deputy Governor William Oduol only demanded of threatening and persistently demanding information from the officer who are not directly answerable to him was akin to the provisions of Section Integrity Act 2012 that states that a state officer shall not bully any person. 2. For purposes of subsection 1, bullying includes repeated offensive misbehavior which is vindictive, cruel, malicious, humiliating, and is intended to undermine the person. Roman 4, misleading the public by giving false information. Mr. Speaker, sir, moral and ethical requirements of any state officer dictates that he or she must always accurately and honestly represent information to the public. Section 29 of Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 states that a state officer shall not knowingly give false or misleading information to any person. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 27 2D of the County Assembly's Powers and Privilege Act 2017 classifies an offense, actions of such, those which resulted into giving false information or evidence before him as an assembly committee. Mr. Speaker, Section 27(2)(f) of the same Act further states that a person commits an offense when the person willfully furnish a county assembly or a committee with information which is false or misleading, or makes statement before a county assembly or a committee that is false and misleading. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is on record that the Deputy Governor William Oduol misled the county assembly and has continuously been misleading members of the public on the following instances. A. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled the members of the public that funds allocated towards completion of Siaya Stadium had been relocated in the Supplementary Budget 1 for the financial year 2022-2023. However, it was confirmed that the allocation had been enhanced and roads removed as the Deputy Governor claimed. B. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Governor misled members of the public and the House that there was discriminatory budgetary allocation to disadvantaged residents of Alek Usonga constituency. It was later confirmed that Alek Usonga is the highest beneficiary of development funding in the Supplementary Budget 1 for the financial year 2022-2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled the County Assembly and members of the public that the County Secretary, Mr. Joseph Ugutu, was forced to resign by the Governor, information that was denied by the County Secretary. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled the County Assembly and members of the public that the county bursary allocation in Siaya is riddled with corruption, that school head teachers who are critical and stakeholders in the determination of the needy cases are left out during the vetting process. The assertion is invalidated by statement of the CEC member for education. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor, William Oduol, misled the County Assembly and members of the public that Mr. Austin Otieno was a political affairs officer in the county public service, that he had been interdicted without being given an opportunity to show cause why disciplinary action could not be taken against him. Investigation revealed that Mr. Otieno was not appointed to the county government as political affairs officer, but as a social welfare officer. And further, Mr. Otieno was procedurally asked to show cause why disciplinary action could not be taken against him. Thank you.
You can advance your arguments if you like, or ask somebody to second before I propose the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, having gone through this allegation, which I've tabled before this House, the members of this House are honorable members, mandated by Constitution to oversight and gather information and protect the resources allocated to the county government of Siaya on behalf of the general public. Mr. Speaker, this House stands ridiculed by the utterances of the Deputy Governor. Every time he has accused this House of not doing the job which the people or the electorate of Siaya County from the 30 wards elected them to do. Honorable Speaker, we have been threatened, and several times the process which we have undertaken and the motion which I brought before this Honorable House has been laughed at, and several are all of an oversight. How I wish he would resign as a Deputy Governor and face my colleague Felix Judy of West Alego and see if he can muscle vote from West Alego to be a representative and be a member of the county assembly so that he can oversight the executive. It's laughable. You all know the popularity and political glory of the deputy governor died in 2017. And if somebody forget that or him forget, he can reject the voting muscle during the ODM nomination for the gubernatorial seat in 2017. I think it was very far. So I have to take this opportunity to ask my colleagues that we have a house, we have a name. Our name has been spoiled out there for reasons of falsehood and misinformation, that we are paid to take action as an assembly. Let us do what is honorable. And I request my brother and a friend and a colleague from East Game to support.
Member for East Game,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Having listened carefully from my colleague, Honorable Oduol, and I tend to agree that's the verdict of the majority. One thing I want to say before I give my comment is that, Mr. Speaker, reputation is very important. It's very painful when somebody can claim that some honorable members in this House have been paid or who are paid to do anything. Because I stand here before this honorable House and before the mighty God that have not received even a single cent. And it pains me when somebody can claim that me being part of the assembly, I was given 300,000 shillings. Mr. Speaker, how I wish the person who gave out this information can vividly come out and prove who and who were given money and for which purpose. But for the sake of decorum, for the sake of respect, people must respect this House. And therefore, I beg to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Fellow members, I notify you that I've since realized there was a typo on citations by the mover, more particularly in Section 33 of the County Government Act. We have referred to Section 32. So kindly the correction be made. I will therefore propose a question. That in consideration of the provisions of Articles 73, Subarticle 1A, Roman 3 and 4 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, hereinafter referred to as the Constitution, insofar as it connotes to the manner in which a state officer is expected to exercise assigned authority, whereas Article 75, Subarticle 1 of the Constitution obligates a state officer to behave in all senses in a manner that is devoid of compromising public or official interest in favor of personal interest. Aware that a state officer, having taken and subscribed to the oath of office pursuant to the provisions of Article 74 of the Constitution, is duty-bound to adhere to values and principles of public service as espoused in Article 232 of the Constitution, most importantly, the practice of equitable provision of services. Hitherto, the County Assembly of Siaya, having been signaled by public utterances and allegations by the Deputy Governor to the effect that there were misgivings, elements of moral-bound leadership, misappropriation of public funds, and biasness in budget allocations, amongst other positions. The Assembly being fully apprised of the importance of provisions of Article 73, sub-Article 2D of the Constitution, which requires all state officers to be accountable to the public for their decisions, actions, and by implication, public utterances. The Assembly, in exercising its constitutional mandate, or being bestowed with the power to summon any person to appear before it for purposes of giving evidence or providing information in line with Article 195 of the Constitution, resolved to invite the Deputy Governor to shed light on the import of his public proclamations about the administration in which he serves. Further aware of the significance of provisions of Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits an officer from knowingly giving false information to any person. Section 30 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits a state officer from falsifying records or misrepresenting information, and Section 27, subsection 3G of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, which classifies willful furnishing of county assembly or a committee with information which is false or misleading, or making statement before a county assembly or committee that is false or misleading as an offense. Noting that the Deputy Governor, William Oduol, submitted information to the county assembly together with associated alleged evidence, presumably to the best of his knowledge and ability, concerned that the analysis of the information provided by the Deputy Governor, his actions prior to the subsequent to the provision, providing information, and observed misdemeanor in the manner in which he runs the affairs of the office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor, that goes against the grains of several provisions of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, County Government Act 2012, Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, Public Procurement Assets and Assets Disposal Act of 2015, Anti-Corruption Economic Crimes Act 2016, County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, and Public Officers Ethics Act 2009. These House resolves to impeach the Deputy Governor, Mr. William Oduol, under Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012, and Standing Orders numbers 71 and 72 on the following grounds: gross violation of the Constitution and other related laws, under which we have interference with the procurement process through acts of bid rigging, abuse of office and gross misconduct, under which we have bulldozing officers to renovate the office of the Deputy Governor outside approved budgetary provisions, misuse of public resources, bullying, misleading the public and giving false information. Yes, the Honorable Majority Whip and the MCA from North Yoma, Honorable Washington Bull Kabuni.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and allow me to thank the Almighty God for making me see this day today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I put up my point, allow me to give you a story. That there is an old man and a young man. The young man embarked on a vehicle, and
apparently hit the old man with a bar. Then he went and sat. Then he came back to the old man and asked the old man, "Why am I hitting you with the bag and you're just keeping quiet?" The old man replied that I always don't react to demagoguery and idiocy, because your action was with a lot of demagoguery and a lot of idiocy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he said, why was he saying this? He later reiterated that because I'm telling you this, because the journey we are in is too short, Mr. Speaker. We have only embarked and we are going to disembark. We only have 3 years. And we have to agree as a House and the people of Siaya that we cannot continue squabbling and fighting, because all this, if done, Mr. Speaker, then we are going to affect the people of Siaya and North Oyoma land. And Mr. Speaker, if you ask me to choose between development and squabbling, I'll choose the people, I'll choose development, Mr. Speaker. And if you ask me to choose between development and Honorable Oduol and the people of North Oyoma, Mr. Speaker, I'll choose development and I'll also choose the people of North Oyoma, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is now nostalgically clear that these people, these 200 members and these 2 senior citizens of this county cannot work together. And therefore, this House has thought it wise to decide on something that can keep the county of Siaya going, Mr. Speaker, because we cannot continue like this. Mr. Speaker, I was very hesitant in the first place to join this whole maneuvers. Why, Mr. Speaker? I was hesitant because I'm a professional soldier. Mr. Speaker, if I hear crack and thump and the noise of a gun, I take cover. After taking cover, Mr. Speaker, I observe. Then after observing, I locate and shoot. And I make sure that if I shoot, I don't miss the target, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as elected members of this county, Mr. Speaker, our core mandate is to deliver to the people of Siaya County. And more so, me, as the honorable member representing the people of North Oyoma, Mr. Speaker, I have to deliver to the people of North Oyoma. They need not elect me to come and listen to unnecessary squabbles, fighting, that is really going to hinder development of the people of North Oyoma, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy today that this House is taking a decision today that will make the future of Siaya County. Mr. Speaker, I stand here as a senior member of this House, and I want to tell you that all these honorable members elected me and opposed as the whip of the majority party of this great party, ODM, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us see, Mr. Speaker, let us give Honorable Odinga peace, Mr. Speaker. This old Mzee will die because of us. When he's busy trying to help us down there, and we are busy fighting for useless things. Mr. Speaker, let us give Honorable Odinga peace, because our political opponents up there will find a lot of advantage. They will ask Honorable Odinga, you are busy fighting here, and your count.
Yes, Philip,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mheshimiwa Wing is out of order because we are discussing something for prosperity for people of Siaya, not about trying to Odinga.
Washington, I think as was earlier, let us avoid mentioning the name of somebody who is not subject for discussion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I was only trying to give a story so that I pull you and read. I hope you are listening to me, because I'm the whip of the majority party. I have to try and give a story to convince you to vote for this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, it is very unfortunate that the 200 members are sleeping there. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm only trying to say, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I'm only trying to say that we give our party leader peace. Let us not fight fightings that are very unnecessary, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as the whip of the majority party, I want to request members of the ODM and our members who are members of the ODM but were only twisted in another way, please vote for this motion so that we bring sanity to Siaya County, because our commandate in this county is to deliver to the people. We want development, we don't want war. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
I was standing on a point of order because I was very attentive when the Honorable Member for East Assembly was moving this motion. And when I look at the grounds for impeachment, I did not see anywhere that it was stated that he was moving the motion for impeachment because of infighting. So is it in order, if the whip says that the county assembly must vote on this motion to impeach the Honorable Deputy Governor because of infighting?
That has been passed by events. I want to proceed. Just an Omotiato. I take note. Just an Omotiato, member for Edo East.
Yes, Chair. With due respect and all honor to justice, Mr. Speaker, allow me to say this, that I will be supporting this motion. I want to support it in a very open and balanced environment on very few grounds. And I think that those few grounds alone will be enough for us to move forward. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said. We are not in the executive world. As Assembly, I pray that we move forward very objective and very balanced to ensure justice is served to either way. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said. When you look at our grounds, when the report was outside there, I've had an opportunity to listen to the Deputy Governor speak outside there, and still making some comments about those reports and some of these allegations. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I think the decision for Honorable Oduol to break this motion was timely, that now the Deputy Governor has the full time to try to now convince the House, because we still have about 2 or 3 steps. And if this is made in full glare of the whole public and the whole Siaya, all the 4th estates are invited, and that he will be given an opportunity to tell us each issue as raised in front and in full glare of the whole Siaya, we will get to a very conclusive and very good decision. So, Mr. Speaker, I still believe that the impeachment motion is a motion subject to a process, and like I hear in some other media, it was misquoted that possibly a decision on the report was, on the former report was given without giving our media an opportunity to respond. Mr. Speaker, this is the best opportunity that the issues raised from the ad hoc, of this other advanced states of processing this, will give the Deputy Governor a very strict opportunity to tell the people what it's all about. And Mr. Speaker, by that alone, then I will request this House that possibly we adopt this report and we don't even need to discuss much about it. And many other issues are going to come up when the DG has been invited to present his case, when the other witnesses who are claimed here will have been invited to speak, and everybody else to express themselves openly for a public court and for the process of the assembly. Thank you, Mrs. And therefore, I request that our House consider this just for the purposes of integrity of the process.
Honorable Ibarika,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am of the view that you should adopt the motion, but I wanted to disabuse the motion by the mover to preempt, Mr. Speaker, that this process, when it gets to the final stage, I am the confident in the upper house that I believe, Mr. Speaker, should
But Mr. Speaker, we now have an opportunity to call upon the person who faces the accusations to come and shed light on his utterances. Mr. Speaker, from where we stand today, the Honorable Guru has offered us an opportunity, everybody an opportunity, to listen to the Deputy Governor, to speak to the Deputy Governor, to talk to the Deputy Governor, and to speak to the documents that were presented, which this House, in better oversight wisdom, stated to have been unsubstantiated. But there's a challenge that opportunity was not allowed to substantiate. An opportunity to substantiate has presented itself via the motion by the Honorable Guru. I am going to request, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, sisters and brothers, that it is necessary and important to allow the process to proceed in a fair manner so that I usually say the pedestrian walking along a indicator, the lady and the gentleman who are resting during lunchtime at the governor's garden behind us here can be satisfied that the exercise that we are undertaking is fair, is just, is objective, and is without bias. And Mr. Speaker, for that reason alone, I would request my colleague that we dispense with this motion. And I said it earlier that it's a motion that is, of course, we will vote, but the numbers that have signed against it already indicate that it has gone through, so that we allow the persons mentioned, the affected persons, to come and bring evidence. Mr. Speaker, I want to rest my submissions by saying this. that not just the Senate, the way Mheshimiwa is saying it. We expect the committee that we are going to constitute, or that will be constituted if this motion passes, to be fair, to give people a hearing. And if we are going to debate this before the committee is constituted, then there's no need in constituting a committee. Because whether the offences are impeachable or not will be told to us by the committee in a report. And so, Mr. Speaker, I submit that this just being a procedure for purposes of starting off the process, and we dispense of it, and reading the mood of the House, and the defense of the bill. I would be urging that you call upon the mover to reply.
I think the leader of the House, I call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me first to appreciate the comments and support from my colleagues. And I believe the step we are going to make to adopt or pass this motion for the next process will be the best direction of this House. Thank you, and may we come out stronger.
Thank you, remember I guided earlier on that because there is a requirement in the numbers that should approve this type of motion, I will not therefore collect the voices, but will vote by roll call. I want to guide our standing order number 78, provides for procedure of voting by way of roll call. And it says that when the Speaker directs a roll call voting to be taken, the division bell shall be rung for 5 minutes. The names of one teller for the ayes and one teller for the nays shall be submitted to the Speaker, and the Speaker shall direct the tellers to take seats at designated places. At the end of the 5 minutes, the Speaker shall direct the doors to be locked and the bar drawn, and no member shall thereafter enter or leave the House until after the roll call vote has been taken. When the doors have been locked and the bar drawn, the names of the tellers have been announced, the Speaker shall put the question again and direct the clerk to call out the names of the members in alphabetical order in the presence of the tellers. When called out, each member shall thereupon rise in his or her place and declare a yes or dissent to the question in the following manner. Etc., etc. And therefore, I will therefore guide as follows, that the clerk to do the needful and make the division the bell be rung. Give the clerk 2 minutes. And the clerk give me the 2 clerks, the 2 tellers. I give further guidance? I give further guidance that I've considered that we will do ballots instead of roll call. So we will be calling out your names in order of precedence, or as the clerk should advise. Once your name is called, you will take a ballot paper, and you will, if you will be in support, you will write yes. If you don't support the motion, you write no. If you support, you will write yes. If you don't support, you will write no. Then you will have voted. Anybody out there, class? Somebody's out? Let them come in, then we close. So at that point, nobody will be allowed in, nobody will be allowed to go out until when we are done. I will therefore put the question. So I will put the question. Once I put the question, then the clerk will follow with calling out your names. You come vote, and then you insert in the ballot box. In consideration of the provisions of Article 73, Subarticle 1A, Romans 3 and 4 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, hereinafter referred to as the Constitution, insofar as it connotes to the manner in which a state officer is expected to exercise assigned authority, whereas Article 75, Subarticle 1 of the Constitution obligates a state officer to behave in all senses in a manner that is devoid of compromising public or official interest in favor of personal interest. Aware that a state officer, having taken and subscribed to oath of office pursuant to the provisions of Article 74 of the Constitution, is duty-bound to adhere to values and principles of public service as espoused in Article 232 of the Constitution, most importantly, the practice of equitable provision of services. Hitherto, the County Assembly of Siaya, having been signaled by public utterances and allegations by the Deputy Governor to the effect that there were misgivings, elements of moribund leadership, appropriation of public funds, and biasness in budget allocations, amongst other positions, the Assembly being fully appraised of the importance of provisions of Article 73, Subarticle 2E of the Constitution, which requires all state officers to be accountable to the public for their decisions, actions, and by implications public utterances. The Assembly is exercising its constitutional mandate of being bestowed with the power to summon any person to appear before it for purposes of giving evidence or producing information in line with Article 195 of the Constitution, resolved to invite the Deputy Governor to shed light on the import of his public proclamations about the administration in which he acts. Further aware of the significance of provisions of Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits an officer from knowingly giving false information to any person, Section 30 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits a state officer from falsifying records or misrepresenting information, and Section 27, subsection 3G of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, which classifies willful furnishing of a county assembly or a committee with information which is false or misleading, or making a statement before the county assembly or a committee that is false or misleading as an offense. Noting that the Deputy Governor William Oduol submitted information to the county assembly together with associated alleged evidence, presumably to the best of his knowledge and ability. Concern the analysis of information provided by the Deputy Governor, his actions prior and subsequent to providing the information, and observed misdemeanor in the manner in which he runs the affairs of the office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor that goes against the grains of several provisions of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, County Government Act 2012, Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act 2016, the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, and the Public Officers Ethics Act 2009.
Being conducted in the order of precedence. One, Honorable Omolo Andrew Omwende, MCAC Commonwealth. Two, Honorable Olo Frederick Odiambo, nominated. Honorable Madialo Sylvester Otieno, MCA Usonga Ward. Honorable Odinga Tumfoka Apondi Osewe, MCA West Sakwa Ward. Honorable Odongo Enrico Oduol, MCA West Virginia Ward. Honorable Omondi Joseph Peter, MCA Ukwala Ward. Honorable Okumu Felix Ouma, MCA West Malego Ward. Honorable Onyango William Kinyanyi, MCA Yala Township. Honorable Otieno Edwin Martin, MCA Gunja Ward. Honorable Otiato Francis Otieno, MCA Indo East. Honorable Abuba Philip Ogonyo Oduol, MCA North Ward. Honorable Achien Eunice Rahel, MCA South Sakwa Ward. Honorable Alice Ochieng Yambo, nominated. Honorable Angule Simon Otieno, MCA West Yimbo Ward. Honorable Anyango Silas Madingu, MCA Central Game Ward. Honorable Akodo John Otieno, representing Sidini Ward. Honorable Arik Speaker Oliver Otieno, representing North Sako Ward. Honorable Arunda Wilfrida Ogunda, nominated. Honorable Madogo Scholastica Mercedes, representing Southeast Alego Ward. Honorable Obuya Justus Oguta, representing West Uyoma Ward. Honorable Chindora Abonyo, nominated. Honorable Ochieng Seth Baraka, representing East Game Ward. Honorable Oinga Dorothy Aweno, nominated. Honorable Okelo Julie Akinyi, nominated. Honorable Okeo Mark Okeo, representing West Assembly Ward. Honorable Onguru Gordon Onyango, representing East Assembly Ward. Honorable Onyango Cynthia Akinyi, nominated. Honorable Onyango Rose Awino Rapinya, nominated. Honorable Oso Amanzila, nominated. Honorable Otieno Joseph Bismarck Olamo, representing Central Sako Ward. Honorable Otieno Michael Omondi, representing South Uyoma Ward. Honorable Otieno Shalom Oduol, nominated. Honorable again David Omondi, representing Central Alego Ward. And Honorable Anyango Brian Chien Ugiro, representing South Game Ward. All the members present have been called to vote.
I will ask the Secretariat one to stand for the ayes, another one for the nays. And if there is any member who wants to stand for the nays and the ayes, you can all equally team up. So the clerk on the ayes, whose ayes? The yes? I would be yes. No, deny. Or more is no for the deny. MCS for the ayes is yes. It says yes. Is there any MCA for the no? Comes.
Yes. 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 No. Yes. 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 So we are getting the tally of the yeses and the nos. So we count with the nos. So, honorable members, the total votes cast were 39. Out of the 42 MCS, 3 were absent, and 39 were present and voted. So the total votes cast were 39. So out of the 39, the tallies we have no, 1. Yes, 38. We've been asked to confirm the tally for the yes, so we will count loudly. Yes, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24,
25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38.
I will then announce the results of the voting. Next time I think I will do the roll call. Next time we will do roll call. That will be clear and openly. Now, I will then give the results which are that in the concluded voting on motion on removal from office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor William Oduol by impeachment pursuant to Article 181, Sub-Article 1 AC and Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012, and Standing Order Number 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders. That those who are in support of the motion, who approve the motion are 38, and those who oppose the motion is 1. 3 members were absent with apologies, and therefore the motion stands passed. Having said that, honourable members, I want to give further guidance that the motion on the removal from office of the Deputy Governor William Oduol, having been approved by 38 members of the Assembly, no abstinence, and 1 opposed, with apologies from 3 members. The procedure to be followed, therefore, is as stipulated in Standing Order Number 71(7), as had earlier been guided, and therefore a supplementary order paper be circulated with immediate effect. On the supplementary order paper, a motion for appointment of members of the Special Committee investigating any delegations raised in the motion on removal from office of the Deputy Governor has been listed. The leader of majority party shall therefore move the motion, and if adopted by the House, the committee will stand appointed today, Monday the 29th of May 2023, in line with Standing Order Number 71, Part 7. The committee, once appointed, shall have 10 days within which to investigate and report the matter. The House stands ready. Majority Leader, there's an order paper there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's time to do a notification. Whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 33 of County Government Act 2012, and Standing Orders 71 and 72 of County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders on 29th May 2023, the County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, William Oduol. And whereas pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Order 71(7), the Assembly by resolution Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33(9)(a) of the County Government Act 2022 and Standing Order 71(7) and 72, the Assembly resolves to establish a special committee on the removal of the Deputy Governor William Oduol from office, comprising of the following members. 1. Honorable Francis Otiato. 2. Honorable Oliver Alika. 3. Honorable Andrew Umwende. 4. Honorable Frederick Omoro. 5. Honorable Bernard Agala. 6. Hon Cynthia Akinyi. 7. Hon Seth Baraka. 8. Hon Silas Majibu. 9. Hon Eunice Achieng. 10. Hon John Apodo. 11. Hon Dorothy Orenga. 12. Hon Justus Oguta. 13. Hon Julie Ukelo. And 14. Hon Michael Tieno. The special committee shall investigate the report on the grounds upon which the proposed motion has been relied upon and pursuant to Standing Order 71(7) report to the Assembly within 10 days of the appointment on whether or not it finds the particulars of the allegation against Deputy Governor to have been substantiated. I now call upon Honorable Frederick Omoro.
The motion, the notice has been duly given, so go on.
Motion, establishment of special committee to investigate and report on the grounds for removal from the office of William Oduol, the Deputy Governor.
Mr. Judge,
Thank you once more, Mr. Speaker. Again, I'm on my feet. That whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 32 of County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71 and 72 of the County Assembly of Fair Standing Orders on 29th May 2023, the County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, William Oduol. And whereas pursuant to Section 33(9)(a), the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Order 71(7), the Assembly by resolution shall appoint a special committee comprising a third of its members to investigate the matter. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33(9)(a) of County Government Act 2012 and Standing Order 71(7) and 72, the Assembly resolves to establish a special committee on the removal of the Deputy Governor William Oduol from office, comprising of the following members. 1. Hon Francis Otiato. 2. Hon Oliver Alika. 3. Hon Andrew Umwende. 4 is Hon Frederick Omoro. 5 is Honorable Bernard Agala. 6 Honorable Cynthia Akinyi. 7 Honorable Seth Baraka. 8 Honorable Silas Madingu. 9 Hon Eunice Achieng. 10 is Honorable John Apodo. 11 Honorable Dorothy Oyenga. 12 is Honorable Justus Oguta. 13 is Honorable Julie Ukelo. And the last person is, the last honorable member is Honorable Michael Tieno. The special committee shall investigate and report on all the grounds upon which the proposed motion has been relied upon and pursuant to Standing Order 71(7), report to the Assembly within 10 days of its appointment on whether or not it finds a particular investigation against Deputy Governor to have been substantiated. I now ask Honorable Frederick Omoro to second.
The members, I will pose the question. It is that whereas Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012, and Standing Orders numbers 71, 72 of the County Assembly of Standing Orders. On the 29th of May 2023, the County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Deputy Governor of Siaya, Oduol, and whereas pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012, and Standing Order number 71, 7, the County Assembly by resolution will appoint a special committee comprising a third of its members to investigate the matter. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Order 71, 7 of the County Assembly by resolution shall appoint a special committee comprising a third of its members to investigate the matter. So then now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33, I will read it again. I will propose it afresh. That whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders number 71 and 72 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, on 29th of May 2023, the County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, Oduol, and whereas pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Order 71-7, the Assembly by resolution shall appoint a special committee comprising a third of its members to investigate the matter. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012, the Standing Order 71, 7 and 2 and 72, the County Assembly resolves to establish a special committee on the removal of the Deputy Governor Oduol from office, comprising the following members: Honorable Members Francis Ocheto, Oliver Rika, Andrew Monde, Frederick Omoro, Bernardo Dallas, Cynthia Kini, Seth Baraka, Silas Mudingu, Vincent Chiang, John Apollo, Dorothy Venga, Justice Oguta, Julie Okello, and Michael Otieno. The special committee shall investigate and report on all the grounds upon which the proposed motion has been relied upon, and pursuant to the Standing Order number 71-7, report to the Assembly within 10 days of its appointment on whether or not it finds the particulars of the allegations against the Deputy Governor to have been substantiated. I will put the question. Honourable members, I therefore put the question, which is that whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71, 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders, on the 29th of May 2023, the County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, Mr. Oduol, and whereas pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71, 7, the Assembly by resolution shall appoint a special committee comprising a third of its members to investigate the matter. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71, 7, and 72, the Assembly resolves to establish a special committee on the removal of the Siaya County Deputy Governor Oduol from office, comprising the following members: Honorable Members William Ocheto, Rika, Andrew Monde, Frederick Omoro, Bernardo Dallas, Cynthia Kini, Seth Baraka, Silas Mudingu, Vincent Chiang, John Apollo, Dorothy Venga, Justice Oguta, Julie Okello, Michael Otieno. The special committee shall investigate and report on all the grounds upon which the proposed motion has been relied upon, and pursuant to Standing Order number 71-7, report to the Assembly within 10 days of its appointment on whether or not it finds the particulars of the allegation against the Deputy Governor to have been substantiated. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. And will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honourable members, I wish to give further guidance. There are motion on constitution of the special committee having been adopted. The committee stands appointed today, the 29th of May 2023. The committee has 10 days within which to investigate and prepare its report on the finding of this matter. The 10 days shall expire on Thursday, the 8th of June 2023. Honourable members, I direct the committee to take cognizance of the provisions of Article 196 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 on involvement of the people or public in the process and activities of the County Assembly. I further direct the committee to take cognizance of the provisions of Article 47 and 50 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 on fair administrative action and fair hearing respectively. The committee should also note the provisions of Standing Order number 71-8, read together with 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya, which in effect provides that Deputy Governor has the right to appear and be represented before the Special Committee during its investigations. The committee shall be further guided by the provisions of Standing Order number 74 on the right to be heard. The Standing Order states that whenever the Constitution or any other written law, one of these standing orders requires the House to consider a petition or proposal for the removal of office, the person shall be entitled to appear before the committee. Honourable members, I further wish to draw your attention to the committee to the recent judgment of Judge Mr. Barr on Lucy Wanjiru Kariuki versus County Assembly of Nakuru and two others, in which the Deputy Governor, in which effect obligates the committee to inform the Deputy Governor of the witnesses or persons who may be invited to give submissions before the committee, and the Deputy Governor should be accorded an opportunity to cross-examine such witnesses or persons if their testimonies or submissions will be relied on to reach decision of this matter. The House stands guided. Next order.
Order number 10, adjournment.
Honourable members, there being other business, we will be adjourning for adjournment. I've been asked by the Secretary to advise the Select Committee to stay behind as they need to put their heads together. There have been no other business, and the members of this House adjourns until 6th of June